Well, good day, everybody. Here we are at the Bible in a Year 2021. We're on day 92, and we are looking at Judges chapter 8 and 9. So, bed relations. Look at this right off the bat. I'm, I'm so glad that I have the opportunity to demonstrate to you that the Lord uses the imperfections, right? So Judges chapter 8, verses 2 to 3, we read, but he said to them, what have I done now compared to you? Okay, so what this is about is the Ephraimites are really upset with Gideon because Gideon didn't call them out to join in the war. But that's the part, remember, where the Lord reduced them from 22,000 down to 300. So they couldn't have joined in anyway. He would have ended up sending them home. But they did rally once he got the army rooted. So he says here, and this is wonderful because we see that there's bad relations between the tribes. There's a lot of jealousy and stuff that's going on. They're not acting as one nation whatsoever. And we see here that Gideon is actually a skilled politician. Look at this. He said to them, what have I done now compared to you? Aren't Ephraim's leftovers better than Abiezer's main harvest? God handed you the Midianite officers, Oreb and Zeb. What have I been able to do compared to you? When he said this, their anger against him passed. Man, it's more than politics. Like I'm joking here about being a good politician. This is just that wonderful example of a gentle answer turns away wrath, and it was nothing for him because Gideon, remember, is humble in this, and he's able to say, well, like, what am I compared to you? And when Ephraim hears that, when the Ephraimites hear that, it just dissipates the whole anger with him. Um, then we really see what kind of condition they're in. There's no possible way that they're even coming close to following the law. The law has to do with morality and relationships, remember? And so, like, Gideon is getting rid of the enemy of Israel, and yet when he asks for help, look at the answer in verse 6. But the officials of Succoth replied, haven't you already almost gotten your hands on Ziba and Zolmanah? Um, this is tongue in cheek. This is being very sarcastic. Why should we give food to your army now? Like they're being very sarcastic, as in, you haven't got a victory here. If we help you, it could come back on us. So, like, we're not helping you. Uh, this is their brothers, you know. Um, and we see that this division, because look what they do. They go up to Peniel with the same request, and people of Peniel responded in the same way the people of Succoth had. The division in Israel is astounding. That they're not willing to come together to help each other. Easily, they could make such a huge army and easily put an end, but they're only held together. They were created by Yahweh. As a nation, they were created by Yahweh. He is the glue that holds them together. He is their focus. And when that doesn't happen, then they splinter. They splinter. It's the same thing we find in the church. We are a strange people that he has brought together. We all have different backgrounds, different nationalities, different languages, different perspectives, different cultures, and yet we are united under him with one Father, one King, one Spirit, one baptism. It's one salvation. We have one kingdom culture, and that's what we have. And so when we're focused on him, man, we're strong. But when we focus on ourselves, we're splintered. And this is the condition that Israel was in right now. In verse 10, um, we get a glimpse. I mentioned it yesterday, but we see here in black and white just the size of the victory that Gideon won with 300 men. So we read here now, Zeba and Zalmunna, Zalmunna were in Kakor with their camp, about 15,000 men, 15,000, okay? All the ones who were left from the Easterners' entire camp, 120,000 armed men had fallen. So altogether, they had 135,000, and Gideon destroyed them with 300. It's amazing, isn't it? Uh, his vengeance. No way would this have pleased Yahweh. No way. We see here, then he sees the city's elders, right? He went back to Succoth and he beat the people of Succoth with desert thorns and briars. He also broke down Peniel's tower and killed the city's people. This was personal vengeance. This was because they didn't help him. He didn't leave it in the hands of the Lord. He personally was insulted by them, and he went and he sought vengeance on them. Now we're going to see in a bit how one of his sons actually did it properly. How and just so that you know, this isn't the way to do things. It's one of those things that it's there, but it doesn't mean it's approved. And we see that he is really a vengeful man. This is personal. When he deals with those two kings, he deals with it on a personal level. Look at this. Not you came against Israel, but look, um, they were my brothers, Gideon said, my own mother's sons. As surely as the Lord lives, I promise that if you had let them live, I wouldn't kill you. And then he kills them. You know, this he brings this thing, he reduces this victory for Israel, he reduces it down to a personal victory, and this is a personal vengeance. This isn't, hey, my God told me that you are not to live, and so I am executing you here in the name of my God. But no, you killed my brother, so I'm killing you. Um, Here we're seeing in verse 22 and 23 the first evidence of a desire for a king. Then the Israelites said to Gideon, rule over us, you, and then your son, and then your grandson, because you've rescued us from Midian's power. Gideon replied to them, I'm not the one who will rule over you, and my son won't rule over you either. The Lord rules over you. That is a mature response from Gideon. So we're seeing, you know, that there's rough edges. We all have them. There's strengths and there's weaknesses. In our weakness, we need to depend on the Lord to strengthen us and bring us some maturity in those weaknesses. But where we are strong, we can shine. And this is where Gideon shined. He just refused. Like I don't want the power. I don't want that power, and I don't want that position, because that's the Lord's position, and I'm not going to take his place in your life. The Lord rules over you. It's amazing. What a response. But then, then you have this, and you got to ask yourself, why? What was Gideon thinking here? In verse 27, Gideon fashioned a priestly vest out of like all the gold and stuff that they had given him in tribute, in thanks for what he had done for them. And he put it in his hometown of Ophrah. Remember, he had already destroyed the altars that they had for false gods. All Israel became unfaithful there because of it. They became a trap for Gideon and his household. Man, I mean, come on now, you should know better. This is Israel's weakness here. Um, anyway, so he was a source of victory, source of encouragement, a source of drawing people back to Yahweh, but he also became a stumbling block. He seeded this thing into people. And we also see other areas where he seeded. So Gideon is one of these complicated characters. In verse 30, Gideon had 70 sons of his own because he had many wives. And that is going to become a source of problem right there. There's jealousies that rise up and competition that rises up, and people would be, they were looking at Gideon. He had the stature of a king, They're looking at his sons as princes. Even if though he refused that position, it was still, they still looked at him and admired him, and they would admire those sons. And so they would be treated like nobility. And so we see Israel did what they always do. Right after Gideon died, the Israelites once again acted unfaithfully by worshiping the Baals, setting up Baal Berith as their god. Yeah, Yahweh has been faithful to them again and again and again. He has rescued them every time. The Baals have done nothing for them, but yet the Baals are easy to worship. As in, you have something to focus on. With Yahweh, it was illegal to carve any kind of image to worship. Spirit and truth. That's what Jesus said. That's where we worship, in spirit and truth. They also failed to honor Gideon, nor did they act loyally toward the household of Jerubbaal, that is Gideon, in return for all the good that he had done on Israel's behalf. So, like, these are not, Israel's not just comprised of people of character whatsoever, good character. And then we see here, when we turn the page and turn the chapter, we see something that Gideon did not have, and this is from his son, one of his sons, and it's not attractive at all. It's the first that we see evidence of this in Israel. Here we have somebody who's greedy for power. So ask all the leaders of Shechem, which do you think is better to have ruling over you? 70 men, all of Jerubbaal's sons, or one man? And remember that I'm your flesh and blood. Hungry for power. He wanted that position as king. And then we have the first real atrocity. It won't be the last one, but it is the first one we have here marked. Such an atrocity. He went to his household in Ophrah and killed all 70 of his brothers, Jerubbaal's sons, on a single stone. Only Jotham, the youngest of Jerubbaal's sons, survived because he had hidden himself. Yeah. This is how hungry he was for power. He didn't want any competition whatsoever. I want you to understand, though, when they say here that they crown him as king, he's only king of a small clan. He's not even a king of a tribe, and he's certainly not the king of Israel. Then all the leaders of Shechem and all Beth Millo assembled and proceeded to make Abimelech king by the oak at the stone pillar in Shechem. Just a small clan, and he killed 69 of his brothers to get there. And then his little brother from a distance gives this wonderful fable, and it really speaks to the character of Abimelech, because I guess the people at that time were just blind to this. It's a great fable, but he concludes it with, finally all the trees said to the thorn bush, you come and be king over us. A thorn bush. There's not much value in a thorn bush. I'm sure it has purpose, but not the same kind of purpose as the great trees have. So the trees are of greater character, but they're bowing to a lesser character, and this is just in case you missed it, Abimelech is not good. Okay, and then we have the curse that is pronounced. This is the way that revenge is dealt with. Revenge is mine, says the Lord. And in verse 20, but if not, let fire come out. This is his little brother. Let fire come out from Abimelech and burn up the leaders of Shechem and Beth Millo. And let fire come out from the leaders of Shechem and Beth Millo and burn up Abimelech. So that is the curse that he has pronounced. If you yeah, he was saying, if this wasn't from the Lord, if this was from the Lord, fine. If it wasn't from the Lord, may you be cursed. Is basically what he did. So unlike Gideon, he did not try to exact revenge on himself. He basically is giving this over to Yahweh, and Yahweh responded to the innocent bloodshed. And in turn, he fulfilled this curse. Then God stirred up ill will between Abimelech and the leaders of Shechem, and they acted like traitors toward Abimelech. And uh, we have here in verse 27. Just look at how deplorable this is. They're worshiping other gods. This is Israel. They went out into the field, cut off clusters from the vineyards, trampled them out, and had a celebration. They entered their God's temple, and ate, drank, and made fun of Abimelech. So we have this whole thing. There's a war between the elders of Shechem and Abimelech, and they basically destroy each other. But we have this thing that happens. This is how he dies. So Abimelech came to the tower to storm it, but when he approached the tower's entrance to set it on fire, a woman dropped an upper millstone on Abimelech's head and cracked his skull. And he told, his assistant, "Kill me, so nobody can say a woman killed me." What an insult! A woman killed you. But it's still known that it was this woman who killed him. And David makes mention of this. So it must be in the journals of Israel's warfare training manuals. This is what not to do. Don't get too close to a tower because a woman might drop a millstone down and kill you. So keep people back at a safe distance when you're laying siege to a tower. So yeah, Abimelech is recorded in history, but as an example of what not to do. And this is how Yahweh does vengeance. Don't do the Gideon thing. It doesn't please the Lord. Just if there's, in fact, we're told now we're under a new place. We're not even supposed to seek revenge anymore. But even in the Old Testament, you're supposed to leave it to the Lord. He cursed him, and he left it to the Lord. If you've done ill, may it come back on you. But if you've done from the Lord, fine. And he walks away from it. Today, we're not supposed to curse anybody. We're supposed to pray for our enemy. We're supposed to love our enemy. We're supposed to pray for them. And we are supposed to speak blessing on our enemy. But we see here, thus God paid back Abimelech for the evil he had done to his father by killing his 70 brothers. God also paid back the people of Shechem for their evil. The curse of Jotham, Jerubbaал's son, had come upon them. So there you go. Just some fine examples of what not to do. Yeah, just remember that not everything you see in the Bible is approved by God, but is there. That if you know him, you can see how ugly things look. It really, that's what it does for us. It lets us see how ugly these things look, how ugly your anger looks, how ugly vengeance looks from the perspective of Father's heart. Okay, so you guys be blessed today. Be encouraged. Know he's for you and he's not against you. And we're to honor him in all things. And yeah, bless our enemies. Have a great day, guys.